In my last videos where I talked about Bioware, people were telling me that I was being too harsh on Bioware itself because the Montreal studio, the ones that made Andromeda, are not the Edmonton studio, the main studio, the core studio. Unfortunately, news that came out yesterday shows exactly why I was so harsh and critical and treating them as if they were the full Bioware studio. Because EA is treating them like they're the full Bioware studio. Yesterday, news came out that Mass Effect was going to be put on hiatus. How long that's for, we don't know, and it could be just a few months. It could be indefinite. We may never see another Mass Effect game again. Who knows? Probably will, I think. But they aren't jumping right into it like they normally would, which kind of says something in and of itself. That the Montreal studio was not going to be making any games. They were going to be in sort of a support uh, situation where they would be helping out the other Bioware studios with their products. And that the Edmonton studio, the game that they were going to make, the new property, it has been delayed. I'm not sure if the last point is 100% related to the first 2 points, but I have this strange feeling that it is. I find the timing that all of this was announced relatively close together to be more than coincidental. I said in my discussions about uh, Andromeda and the Montreal studio that while I think a good chunk of it is because of EA being EA, at the end of the day, this was a bunch of people who did not know what they were doing and took on a project to some extent I think they knew they couldn't do, while at the same time being controversial and saying a lot of stuff they shouldn't have said on social media. So not only did they get themselves in hot water, they made EA look bad through them, which EA does not appreciate. So the fact that this game did not sell well, I think, was the excuse EA was looking for. I don't think EA has a personal vendetta against Bioware or anything like that. I think this is a case of they were pissed off at some of the stuff that the Montreal studio was doing, so they were just going to look for any reason they could to remind them who was boss here and put them back in their place. That's not conspiratorial or haha I told you so. That's more of a I figured this was going to happen. I just, even for as bad as I thought the Andromeda game was, I didn't think it would have this much of an effect. I knew that in some ways this would come back and bite Bioware in the butt, but I didn't think it would be to this level this quickly. I thought it would have been a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and some people would, well, a good chunk of people would have been fired, and some people shuffled around. But I thought that it would have gone back to business as usual after that. I did not think that we would actually see full on Montreal studio being told "fuck you" and the Edmonton studio being punished in regard to it as well. The only studio left doing anything is the Austin studio, and that's with the Old Republic game, the MMO. Now, some of you might be thinking that I'd be overjoyed at this news, and quite frankly, I'm not. I wanted to be wrong here. I don't want to see BioWare get screwed. I don't want to see them fall. I do not want to see them be completely disbanded, which is part of EA's MO. They see a bad game, they get tired of said studio that they've had for about 10-ish years, and then they just destroy them on a whim. I don't want that to happen to Bioware. For as much as I do agree that the Bioware that exists now is not the Bioware of old, it is still Bioware. And I still do have that connection to them. That's probably my nostalgia talking, and that's never a good thing to have be a deciding factor. But I just can't see them going away. I don't want to see that. I hope that they're given another chance and that this time they take it seriously and they don't fuck up, especially on social media. I still remember the Baldur's Gate and the Knights of the Old Republic days. I'm a fan of Jade Empire, and that's considered one of their lesser series. Or games, as it were, because there never was a sequel. There was a enhanced edition remake thing. Until about Dragon Age 2 and Mass Effect 3, though that was specifically the ending, the rest of the game I actually found relatively good. Relatively being the key term here. Until that time, I enjoyed everything that came out of Bioware. And I still have a nostalgic connection to them. So, again, I am a bit biased in that I will judge them harsher than most because of that. But at the same time, I am biased in that I will defend them too. I am not sure what's going to happen because EA's MO at this point is that they are going to destroy the studio now that it's sort of been relegated to just support. And I hope that that doesn't happen. I hope they're given another chance. Make this new property, make Andromeda 2. Let them have a chance. Let them get better. I hope they learned from this. That's all I can say. They need to learn. And if they can do better and they can go back to actually making good games, then it's a lesson well learned. And again, I'm not defending EA in all this. I'm pretty sure a lot of the shit that happened with this game is the fault of EA. But at the end of the day, it was Bioware that made it. It was these employees that screwed up every way imaginable. Not just in the game, but in social media. And this is what happens. You make a, at best, above average game from a studio that is known for excellence to an almost unimaginable degree, and this is what happens. We expect better, and because we got barely above average, we didn't want it. I want that second chance for them. And I will defend them and say that they have, in the past, earned enough to justify getting that second chance. And I really hope that this time they don't repeat all the mistakes. I can dream. I'm hoping for once that it's not going to be the reality that I'm thinking it's going to be. Anyway, this has been Math Machine just talking about what might be the beginning of the end for Bioware, though I'm hoping it's not. Peace out.